Good evening, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you for joining me at Zoom into Wine. My name is Ian Blackburn. I'll be your host for this evening after a wonderful celebration last night for my Los Angeles Dodgers making the championship. 9 out of the last 10 years. It's been a good run, and the team is better than ever. I'm very bullish on this postseason. Well, let's talk about some wine tonight. We're bringing a really fun gathering of 6 wines from the website. If you want to look at the wines directly, you could go to zoomintowine.com, where all of our events are posted, and you can click right on tonight's event and see the wines that we're going to taste. Now, I have scrambled the order a little bit, allowing those that get the tasting kit to be able to taste them and decide which one you like the most. And as I present these wines, I'd love for you to taste them. If you got bottle kits, and there's a number of you that did, we sent an email out. Hopefully you got that with the right answers. You don't have to taste them in that order, but you can play along any level that you would like. I'm going to talk about the wines first before I tell you which order they are in. If you want to taste them one at a time, or if you've got 6 glasses, we can cover a lot of ground. It just depends on what you're set up to do. But I'm going to quickly now go through the wines in no particular order and just talk to you about what I've sent you, and then we'll figure out which one's in which glass. So from I wanted to choose 6 different countries. I think I did that. And I wanted to, have 3 of them be Old World and 3 of them be New World. And I wanted all the wines to be in kind of a value price range. They range, I believe, from this one being around $8 to the most expensive being around $20. But these are wines that I've really enjoyed, and we are either coming to an end or they're just coming in, one of the two. I mean, they're kind of in the extremes of their life here at the store. The Altano, this that we've got here tonight, has been in the store for a while, and we bought a lot of it because they had an incredible deal for us to be able to get, into our store at a great price. I will tell you that my price is probably lower than anywhere else in the country, and I just have a little bit left, but it's at a super deal, and I'm basically trying to work down the number of SKUs, the number of items that we have in our store. We're a little heavy, and there's just a lot of inventory that I have, like 2, 3, 4, 5 bottles of maximum, and those are I'm going to be working even down to a point where I'm almost at cost on the wines, just to lower the number of SKUs that we have in our store. And that's so our website performs a little bit better, and it ends up costing me a little bit less because I have to pay a fee for every SKU that we have out there to allow it to search well. So I'm kind of motivated to kind of lose a little bit of weight. And I've never been this big before. The store's got almost 850 wines. I had planned on it being a 100 wine store at one point. I said, let's go to 200. Things obviously got a little bit carried away, but nobody saw the pandemic coming, and didn't realize that this is what we'd be doing so much of. I love this wine when I tasted it. It is built to be a value. It is made from the grape varieties that you would typically find port wines made from, Touriga Franca, Tinta Ruiz, Tinta Barraca, and it is from a prestigious family, the Symington family. This is their Altano Red, 90 points, major press, and for a wine of this price point, which I carried it initially, the price target was around $12. I can always come in a little bit light of that, but I really took it to a severe discount to move it through. I've got a lot of Portuguese wines now in the store, and so I just wanted to present this again, probably for the last time, as we are running down to the last couple cases. But this is from Oporto, from the Douro Valley, Oporto being the major city that kind of you would welcome if you're going into, or a visit if you're going into the Douro Valley. Right on the ocean, wonderful place to go and visit. And there's a number of great wineries that the Symington family owns and operates throughout the Douro. And this is a look at it. Now, I will tell you that we are going to Portugal in November, and we're going to be visiting Lisbon, and then we're going into Evora, and then some people will choose to extend to go into the Douro with us, and we're going to make some really special appointments happen. Our trip to Portugal is now technically full. We do have the opportunity to add a couple more people if the hotel still has availability, but we have filled our block, and we are so excited. And I have booked all my travel, my accommodations, my everything, and I'm just super pumped to be able to get out of this place for a little bit and go and visit some place I've never seen before. I've never been to Lisbon. I've never been to Evora. I have been to Oporto, but I have never traveled inland into the Douro. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this magical place where the grapes are grown on trellised hillsides, and they grow these very thick-skinned grape varieties, because this is one of the warmer spots in the planet for grape growing. Of course, we go there in November. It's going to rain. It's going to be getting cold, and harvest is over. But all the wineries are going to be there, and they're all going to be working on finishing up their wines, and it's going to be a magical time to be there. Colors are sensational in November. Red, gold, purple. It's going to be glorious. Here's the team at Altano, and this is a very successful family, very highly thought of, and they make some wonderful wines. Take a look at those port barrels. They're a little different in their shape, and that shape kind of comes from the idea that they got to fit them into a ship's hull. So they're called pipettes, and they're a little longer, a little thinner, and they can put them into the bottom of a ship. Especially back in the 1700s, that was quite important. A little description of the wine, talks about it, optimal temperature, and just being able to enjoy something that's got some wonderful, generous character, not too ripe, in a good spot. Lots of the characteristics of Portugal, with different types of schist and stony characteristics. You can really smell that. And these vineyards are just insane how much work they were to put in there. Flipping to the New World, one of the wines that we're going to taste tonight is this little Merlot that no one's ever heard of before, because it really doesn't exist here in this marketplace. This wine is from Paso Robles, and it is made by a master somm who knows that he can work out some arrangements with some nice wineries to get him some nice fruit at a good price, and he works at Disneyland. And so he negotiated this bottle of wine, put it together, pretty damn proud of it. Got some nice scores on the wine, and some awards, actually, more awards than scores. But this is Michael Jordan. He's a master somm, not the basketball player, obviously, but he grew up in the restaurant business. His family was in the business, and he has a real kinship with Hawaii. I can't remember if he was born there or just his family spent some time there, but the resort in Hawaii needed a Merlot by the glass, and he sourced one with kind of a Hawaiian influenced name. And I tasted this wine with him. He's like, Ian, you know, if you're out there and you see a little restaurant here or there, I made a bunch of this, and it's a good value. I told him about my store, and he goes, if you want to carry it in the store, you'd be the only one out there that has it. And we are. And let me just go back to that slide and remind you, when we reveal this wine, $10.99. This wine is really good. And I'm loving Merlot right now. It's just very generous, easy to enjoy, chuggable red wine. And I hope you guys enjoy it tonight. Merlot has kind of that characteristic of cherries and chocolate. This one carries that Paso Robles influence too. Nice and really lusciously round and creamy texture, and really easy to drink. One of the wines that we're going to taste tonight has been a bestseller, and it really is a fantastic brand. It's imported by a company called what are they called? Real, oh no, Rare Wine Company, and they get some really interesting stuff from some top producers. These wines are typically sold to top restaurants. That's kind of what we focus on here. Not a lot of wines that are sold in the grocery store. This wine probably is a larger production. I mean, it costs $12.95, so it's a kind of a value. I will say, I think this wine doubled in price over the last 5 years too. It's cost me a heck of a lot more than you used to be able to buy this wine for pennies, and it's just because the southern part of Spain, where this wine comes from, just doesn't have the dollar value that a lot of other areas like Rioja and Ribera del Duero and other areas kind of carry it. This is from Jumilla, Murcia. It's in the southern eastern side of Spain, and the grapes are Monastral and Grenache. But this is a producer that really does it well, and they've done it well for a very long time. You could just blindly buy this wine and know it's going to be great. And they have old, ungrafted vine Monastral. And that's what's kind of cool about this wine. It's just these vines were planted like 80 years old or older, and we're down in that southeast corner of Spain. There's quite a bit of wine and volume grown down here, but few people have the standards that this winery does. Red, sun drenched. It's going to have a lot of the Mediterranean kind of herbs, olive, spices. It's borderline a Rhone varietal type of approach. It's not shy in alcohol, about 14.5, but it's not overripe, and it has just a wonderful texture and a mass appeal about it. If I owned a little restaurant, I'd probably be pouring this by the glass, because you could sell this for $10 to $12 a glass, and there's not a lot of wines I'd be proud of at that price point for 10 to 12 bucks a glass. This would be one. And here's a little storyline about this producer. You know, a lot of these wineries were able to buy or just even take land that was abandoned with old vine material. And in fact, if you came in like the 1990s and you were organized and you had a business plan, Spain would have given you land if you would have agreed to produce jobs. And that may still even be the case, because there's a lot of brain drain, a lot of issues with the Spanish economy. They make more product than they can consume, and they make it for the export market. And there's a lot of devalued products over there. I think, dollar for dollar, it's hard for anybody to compete with what Spain can put forward. And here's the gentleman who is in charge of the wine brand. Talks about this wine, the Altos de la Hoya. This is fermented in stainless steel tanks. That's affordable. Then it's aged for 6 months in French oak, which gives it some upscale nuances. And it's bottled and it's sold pretty fresh. It does age okay. I would love to keep each wine in my cellar for about a year before I drank it. And this is the newer vintage, which just kind of turned over. I think it turned 2020, maybe about 3 or 4 months ago. Always gets good press, good scores. Look at that beautiful winery, very practical. Everything's got a kind of a long tail of thought and planning. These are the way the vines grow, untrained, untrellised, own rooted, um, just really beautiful creatures, and they make this really amazing fruit. That's what it looks like. It's growing on that volcanic orange, iron rich soils, and beauty. One of the wines that we're going to taste tonight is from Moss Grand Plagnol. That's a mouthful. This is from the Southern Rhone, near, I would say, Châteauneuf-du-Pape is within striking distance. This is kind of an outer area. This area used to just be picked and turned into bulk Côte de Rhone. In a lot of places, the big companies were making the Côte de Rhone, and they would tell you what they were going to pay for the grapes. And the families were not making enough money selling the big companies the grapes. So this guy took things under his control and said, I'm going to promote an appellation, Costers de Nimes, that really doesn't have a name brand. He's going to make a really beautiful wine, and he's going to sell it for a lot of money, $13.95. That's what I get to sell it for once it travels across the country and it gets all the way here. This wine last year, we had a massive amount of 2017, and it was a great vintage, and it rolled through. We went dry. They ran out of stock. They kind of missed the window to bring in some 18, so we jumped right into the exciting 19 vintage. And I would say this wine is just absolutely on fire. So much fun to drink, this Grenache Syrah Cinsault blend. Here we are, Southern Rhone. There's Avignon. Châteauneuf-du-Pape is right in here. And let's see. Let me get the right spot. Let me see, where is Châteauneuf? Is it the gray area? Côte de Rhone, green, Avignon. Châteauneuf-du-Pape should be right there. I don't even see it. Maybe they just ignore it.
It's blue. It's right. It's that royal blue.
Is it that blue right there?
Yeah.
I can't see it. Oh, it's down here at the bottom. Okay, great. I knew it was right there. I just couldn't figure out which one it was. But look how close this little teeny Costers de Nimes is. And I'm probably mispronouncing that, but it's very close. And this is just a absolute knock in value. And now that I've had it 2 years in a row, we'll probably do 50 to 80 cases of this wine this year. And that's a lot for us. We're a teeny store, and getting anything in that kind of volume and we get it, 5 to 10 cases at a time. So we're always ordering. And I love this wine, and I will try to do my best to keep it in stock. I think it's going to get harder to keep in stock because the secret's kind of out. I'm starting to see it in some of my competitors' stores. And if I were a sales agent for this, I'd be like, Ian is selling this all day long, and then they'll jump on it. So that's good. But good for them anyway. But our price is really good on it. I dare anybody to try to match our price. And here's a look at Cyril. He is the 6th generation, and they were the ones that were suffering, selling the fruit to the big companies, and he started taking destiny in his own hands, and that's what we've got here. Of course, this part of France is famous for the galets, the round rocks that literally were turned for 1,000 miles or more as they washed down this river or pushed down this river by glaciers and melting ice, and the Rhone River is just filled with these round stones that look like giant softballs. One of the wines that we're going to taste tonight is really coming into its own. We did feature this recently in our Malbec night, and I was even more impressed with this wine that night than I was when I bought it. This wine is just super lovely, singular, focused. It's got super high ethos, organically grown Malbec, 100% Malbec. Um, might be a few more dollars than some people pay for a Malbec, but this is wine is worth it. It comes from really good fruit, from a really good zone, and they do these really high-end farming. Nobody at $12, $15 is doing biodynamics in a vineyard. So these guys are up around $20, getting a little lower yields, a little prettier, more focused fruit, and it's just really wonderful to smell and to taste. I think this wine's a gem, and I do have quite a bit of it. I can get quite a bit more, so you don't see it in a lot of places. It just kind of falls right in this strange price at around $20 because everything Malbec that flies out the door, it's usually down around $15, and there's some that are charming and okay, but this one's just way better. So I'm promoting it, and I hope you guys like it. See what you guys think as we go into the final stretch here. The Malbec at 94 points, and that's a lot of score from Vinuous. They're very tough, and to give a wine at $20, 94, that's saying something. And I really enjoy it right now. It's just super juicy. And when I bought this wine, it was firm. It was hard. They were like, "Yeah, this wine's gonna get better in about 6 months. It's just been bottled, da da da." And I tasted it. I'm like, "All right, I like it. I think it'll improve." I can't believe how far it's come. And the last wine I'll talk about, another big hit. And I am not the only place that you'll find this wine. This wine's really taking ground because it is an insane deal. And these are the wines from Field Recordings. This is fiction. And I have been working with this guy since he first started. If you ever attended one of my tastings in Santa Monica at the Beverly, or what would we call that? Santa Monica Place. We used to do these rooftop tastings up there. He would come down from Paso and pour at my tastings, and they were like every week. And he would see other accounts and other stuff. It was a good place to end up after a day of work. Rooftop, looking out over the city, pouring your wines, making a name for yourself. And he's just a really spectacular and resourceful winemaker who's been able to achieve this style. His name's Andrew Jones. And here's the next slide. I just love to show people the blend that is in this wine. Zinfandel, Sangiovese, Petit Syrah, Syrah, Alicante Bouschet, Charbonneau, Grenache, Cabernet Franc, Cab Sauv, Corvina, all blended together. That is fiction. And really cool guy, really cool wine, great value. And that is our lineup tonight. And if you have tasted the wines that we have tonight, if you'll tell me what your favorite was by number, or if you have the bottles and you know the name of the wine, just tell me which one you picked, and we'll see if they correspond. Susan French looks like she's got a little dinner party over there, or a pre-dinner party. Hi, guys. Gary, I hope you got your wines all right. And just tap in the little comment box and tell me which one you guys like the best. Which number is really appealing to you? Maybe, Susan, you got 4 different numbers. You got 4 different people tasting. Natalie and Ruth, thank you very much. You both love number 2. Awesome. Okay, Natalie and Ruth, since you answered first, why don't you try to tell me which one you think number 2 is? Very similar. Got a number 4 is great.
Three.
Got a number 3
I
is
like
great
two.
out
I
there.
like three. I like two better than one.
You like 2
I
better?
like 3 and 4. I like 3.
I love it when you, Kathy, you like the Merlot. All right. You got the bottles, right, Kathy? Gary, I don't know if you're accessing all those wines at the same time, if you have a Corvin, or how you're addressing yours. But all these wines are going to be a fun find. Um, I'm sure some people will have different favorites, but 3, 2, 4.
Oh.
I got some guesses. Let's just tell you that number 2 is not the field recordings.
I like 4 better than 3. I like them both. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, that was 3. I like that. Oh, 4 is sweet. Yeah, but rich. Yes. We're finding 4 is kind of rich and sweet.
4's got a lot of pump. Yeah, it's got some depth and richness, color, character. I don't know if it's sweet, but I think it's got ripeness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no sharpness to it.
Right. Yeah. That's a
Mm.
good thing. That's a good thing to notice. And profile might lead you to what
We're just doing 2 glasses at a time, so I've worked up through 4, but I haven't done 5 and 6 yet.
we'll hear what you have to say once you've gotten there. Cool, Gary. That's cool. Gary liked the Malbec and the Fiction Red taste in the bottles. All right, can I start to reveal a few of them? We'll start off with number 1. I didn't hear a lot of votes for out there, but this is our little Jumilla wine from southeast Spain, Altos de la Hoya. Okay, that's number 1. And Monastral is the base there. It sells for about $12.
What's the name of the winery?
Altos de la Hoya. That's the own-rooted Monastral from Jumilla. Wine number 2, which did get some votes and quite a few comments, was in fact the Malbec from Chicana. And this is Argentina 2019 Malbec. All of their fruit, by the way, is off of their estate. And probably nobody at $15 makes an estate wine. It's all sourced fruit, negotiated wine. So even though it's $20, it's from a single vineyard with super high ethos where they're planting it with biodynamic practices. Now they are not paying to have it certified biodynamic because that's very expensive and it would put this wine in a different price point. But because you have to pay large fees to have those companies come out and regulate the vineyard to be able to certify that it's biodynamic. That's just a lot of money. Like I've heard $75,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year just for that, be able to tell people it's biodynamic. Wine number 3. think some people are dancing on the idea that that is the Merlot, and that's a really nice, joyful Merlot. It's just got this wonderful, plush, soft red, almost that cherry skins in your mouth type of feel. Um, it's not doesn't have a hard edges. It's soft and kind of creamy. Really, a lot of wine for. My price is a little light, to be honest. I mean, he wanted me to sell it for $14.95, but I'm gonna try to find. I looked at my website. I have like over 150 wines that are under $15, and so I needed to move it down into a spot where it got some sunshine. It's very close to what I pay for it, but it's absolutely delicious, and I'm not sure I'll continue to carry it at this time because he didn't make it again as Disneyland was closed and wasn't negotiated to bring it back in. I'm not even sure of the status of the production right at this moment, but 2 years ago he had what he called a lifetime supply. So we'll go back and check it out when it's right. And if anybody wants to buy a case of it, I can call him. I'm sure he would sell me a case of it if he had it. But just a couple cases in the store. Maybe not even that. Maybe like 15 bottles in the store.
What's the winery again?
It's called Oleo, Olelo, and it's the Paso Robles Merlot.
Thanks.
Thank you. Wine number 4. That's from the Southern Rhone. That's the Moss Grand Plagnol.
Yeah, nice.
Pretty nice, right? Hard not to like it. It's got a little bit more oomph and I think than 17. I think it cost me 25 cents more a bottle last year. So we're still working under $14 on it. Last year I sold it for $13.95. I think now I'm $13.95. But you do get 10% off when you buy with your discount code tonight. Or anytime you get 12 bottles assorted at our store, any 12 bottles, you get 10% off. Now some wines do have a little asterisk on them because they're either allocated and they're super expensive, and I work really hard to get one bottle, and I'm gonna price it fairly, and those wines don't get a discount. And then there's some wines that are kind of discounty on the internet, and I have to be in line with those prices, so I have to work really thin, and I can't go 10% off on those. So they say they're excluded from further discounting, but they should count towards your discount. And if you ever have a problem with the discount, just let us know. We'll fix it. It does happen, right, Lisa? Lisa is our debugging device. Lisa lives in Santa Monica. She finds all of our mistakes there, but it's not a perfect world. But wine number 5. I didn't know, Susan, if you and Tom got and the team over there got to wine number 5 yet.
I got 5 right here.
And how would you describe that one as opposed to the others that you tasted?
It has a little more citrus to it than 4. It has a really nice flavor to it. I like it.
It was my favorite.
All right.
Here.
Yeah, I liked 5.
And Gary, you're tasting from the bottles, so you know what they are, and you already picked this wine as one of your favorites. This is the Fiction Red.
That's fiction.
Right.
That's the one that with all of the different varieties.
Yeah, it's got quite a lineup in there, and I mean, that takes some genius to be able to blend those things together. And he makes a large number of wines, so I'm sure, and half those grape varieties, if you look at them, are not, the expensive Cabernet, Cab Franc, even Merlot, which has actually gone way up in price because so many people ripped Merlot out. But strange grapes, wild things. Corvina, I think, was in this wine. Who in the heck is looking for Corvina, in California anyway, that's a grape variety used to make Valpolicella and Amarone in Italy. But hey, you can buy these grapes and work your magic like he does with the blending and make something really, really enjoyable. And that is what his jam, and he is really good at it. And that's why you're seeing a lot of that wine. This wine's like everywhere in Southern California because it's so delicious. And it's kind of surprising. I still sell a lot of it, even though it's everywhere. So that's really powerful. But I also buy a little white wine from him called Salad Days, which I think is just a funny name. And Salad Days is his pet nat, a petulant natural. So it's bottle fermented, unfined, unfiltered. It's even a little cloudy. And you just pop that thing open, and it's like $16 for this delicious summer sparkling pet nat. And I think it's made from Uni Blanc. Uh, really delicious. Maybe some Chenin in that too, if I recall. But it's a really just a special little find, and all of his wines are just ridiculously good for the price. Number 6 was our Altano. This is from Portugal and the Douro, and it carries that real rocky mineral schist and granite type of, that we would describe it as granitic in the nose. You can really smell that earth. Oh, Natalie and Ruth, you've had the pet nat and you love it. That's great. Yeah, he's a really talented man. The pet nat keeps running out of stock, and he does make several versions of it in a single year, and it doesn't have a great shelf life. I wouldn't say you want to hold on to that for 2 or 3 years. You want to drink it within a year. But yeah, it's super fun and enjoyable. So Altano is number 6, and this wine's $7.95, and not nothing wrong with it.
Ian, I think I sent you an email saying we had just spent 2.5, 3 weeks in Portugal.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah, it was a great trip. We really enjoyed the Douro. We did a 1-week cruise with biking on the river.
How
And then we did a whole other week with a car and driver where we were mostly looking at Vino Verde because we had previously done the above the Tagus, Evora, that whole area. And
Agio.
I hope you're going to Ishparau.
Yeah, I don't have all of our appointments yet for down there, but if you have any recommendations, please send them to me.
Yeah, well, Ishparau is spelled Esparao, but they call it Ishparau, is up in the Alateja. It is a beautiful, relatively modern facility, but fabulous restaurant and really excellent wines.
So it's a winery with a restaurant, and do they have hotel there too, or is that the name of the town?
No hotel, just restaurant and winery, but really, really good ones. And I think I mentioned Dona Maria. That's an old-fashioned one where they bring in college students to stamp on the grapes and the harvest, and they have these big marble basins that they say the kids get in there with their iPhones or whatever, their music, iPods, and stamp the grapes to make some money. But she was a lovely lady. She had us at her house for lunch. And I mean, that's one of the nice things about Portugal is you make an appointment for your tasting, and then it often includes a beautiful lunch.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, some of these wineries are pretty remote, right? I mean, they kind of have to be pretty self-sufficient. And in fact, I'm going to tell everybody about one upcoming Zoom that we have. I'm not sure, Susan, if you went to Herdad Mushao,
Nope.
but this winery didn't even have power until the year 2000.
Wow.
And this winery may be the place that Alicante Boucher was first planted in Portugal in the south. It's a very important grape variety in the southern part of Portugal. And so he's got this old, un, unrooted, no phylloxera, Alicante Boucher bush vines, and he makes this spectacular wine. Gary, you'll get an email soon because
You sent it.
I did already. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So we'll be doing a Zoom with this producer already on the books here, and we'll be going to visit him as well. So it'll be cool to kind of do like a before we get there type of tasting and have that knowledge before we get there, and potentially share those wines with some people. So that's on October 5th. If you want to join us for a truly unique gathering, my friend John Baccio, who has hosted many a Zoom with us, he'll be hosting this Zoom because he and his company are the importers of this great little wine brand, and yeah, it's elevated in quality for sure. They make a $18 white and a $30 red and a $55 old vine Alicante. They got 95 points from Robert Parker, so we'll be tasting all of those, and I'm really kind of doubling down on these Zoom events because I like them very much, and so we're really trying to put a lot of effort into making them special. Next week is our German Mosel focus. If you're thinking about grabbing a ticket, I will tell you that we are about to sell out. We sold more than I thought we would. Not a ton. I mean, it's I had modest expectations. We'll have about 50 people on the Zoom, but some of these wines are so small. I just couldn't buy any more of a couple of them, and the bottles are already sent out there and stuff. So I'm gonna have to close it in the next day or so. We're not gonna make it to next week on that event. But it's going to be spectacular. If you haven't looked at it, we're tasting, kind of learning more about the category as we go from Trocken to Grossgewächs to Alta Reuben to Cabernet to Spätlese to Auslese. All Riesling, all from top producers, J.J. Pruhm, Max Ferdinand Richter, Dr. Hermann, St. Urbanzoff, Fritz Haag, Weisler Kunstler. These are, I mean, you go to a German savant on Riesling, and he'll tell you this is a great lineup. So if you want to learn about these things, jump on board because we're going to have to close it. And that is next Wednesday. And like I said, we're just really kind of doubling down on the efforts on these tastings. So, on a normal Wednesday, we don't usually have 4 winemakers on the Zoom, but these Oregon guys, they all wanted to do it. I asked all 4 of them, they all said yes. So we're gonna have Ponzi, Shea, Tendril, and Carson Phillips all on a Zoom together live.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, those are some fun wines. That's Ponzi Pinot Gris, Shea Wine Cellars Chardonnay, just got 95 points, by the way. The Tendril Child's Play Pinot Noir, and the Carson Phillips Pinot Noir from Dundee Hills. Great wines. I've tasted all of them. I love them. Jump on board. That'll be a fun night to hear how things are going in Oregon from some really cool brands. And then we got the Mushao tasting. We're doing some live events. Next month we're going to do a Stars of Chardonnay. Got to do a little Chardonnay every once in a while, and boy,
Remember Chardonnay?
yeah, remember that grape? So what if you're going to bother doing Chardonnay, might as well do some outstanding Chardonnay. So one of my favorite Chablis to represent is Jean-Marc Brocard, the VA Vine, Old Vine Brocard 2019. We're going to taste the Presqu'île Chardonnay Estate from Santa Barbara. Just magic. Bodega Chakra, which is just been named James Suckling Winery of the Year last year, because everything that he makes got 94 points or higher. We're actually tasting the entry-level Chardonnay at around $50. He makes the Chardonnay with Jean-Marc Rouleau from Merceau. Mr. Rouleau's family and his Merceau sell for $500, $600, $700, $800 a bottle. Got Mr. Rouleau coming down to make Chardonnay with him from 80-year-old vines in Patagonia. And they're so not, I mean, you just do not know where in the world you are when you're tasting these wines. They're just really cool. You could go out and ask people from all over the world what's the best Chardonnay in the world, and a lot of people are going to tell you Lewin Estate.
Yeah, we bought a piece when we were there. It's Australia.
Piece of bread.
98 points, the wine that we're going to show. Just got 98 points, and that's amazing. Then we're going to have by far my favorite Chardonnay in California. This is High de Villaine. That's owned by Domaine Romanicanti and friends. This is a way underappreciated Chardonnay, HDV, from Carneros. And then we'll finish with 80-year-old Chardonnay vines from Chassagne Montrachet, Domaine Guy Amoy. This is their old vines, 2018, a classic Chassagne. And so I'm not expecting 50 people to even be on. I might have 24 people, but I do have like 10 already signed up. So it's going to go, and it's going to go pretty fun and pretty well. And we're going to be Zooming with people from all over the globe to pull this one off, and that's going to be fun.
Number 5 struck me as a special spoon.
Yeah, that's the
That's
That's the $8 Altano.
not Portuguese or Spanish.
Nope.
Yeah,
It's all over the place.
that was from the Douro. Yeah, number 6, right? Number 6 is what you just said.
5.
5. Oh, that's the fiction. Yeah.
5 was the
Fiction. That's
the
the
one that had 10
direct
different.
indicator there.
Yeah, and if you have a hard time remembering the wines, you can look at the Zoom into Wine page for tonight's event, and you'll see all the links to all the wines for tonight. Just go to tonight's Zoom and cruise down here. I didn't line them up in the same order, so you do have to remember what number they are. But Altano was number 6, number 3 for the Oleo Merlot. Number 1 was the Altos de la Hoya. Number 4 was the Mas Grand Plagnol. Number 2 was the Chacana Malbec. And number 5 was the Fiction.
Okay.
Which one was number 2?
Number 2 was the Chacana.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, fun stuff.
4, please.
Number 4, which was 4?
What was number 4?
Sure. Number 4 was the Mas Grand Plagnol.
Can you see what it is, Peter? Mas Grand Plagnol.
And that's the
That's Grand Paco.
Do we have them all over
Yeah.
there?
That is from Costers de Nimes. It is in the Rhone Valley near Chateau de Pop.
France.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. That
Thanks.
was a
Great.
very interesting tasting.
Excellent. Thank you guys. Appreciate your support and joining me tonight. I hope to see you all very soon. You have a great week, and maybe we'll be speaking German next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
That's
you.
cool.
So you-
Good night.
Lower right.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.